Now, don't forget to push the button for your floor.
One way to keep the budget low is to work with equipment that you own. You might be surprised at how little equipment was involved in the making of my feature film, Good Grief, It's Friday. More on that as I invite you to come inside my movie. Working with your own equipment is something that happens with ultra-low budget indie films and certainly is not the industry norm. However, I acquired the equipment so that I could go through my own learning process without the pressure of timelines. I did a lot of my learning through the making of a music video for a song composed and performed by Ray Whaling, who works as a rock and blues musician in southwestern Ontario. The song, entitled Strawberry Alice, inspired images for me, so it seemed like a good place to start. Of course, making a film begins with pictures. I needed a camera. Following a lot of research, I settled on the HXR MC2500 video camera made by Sony. I chose it because in my television career, I had worked with Sony products and I liked the quality of the equipment and the extent to which they stood behind the gear. The main reason I chose this particular model was price and the ability to employ all manual settings for recording. I wanted to be able to work out frame rate, aperture, and all the rest. I could do that with this camera. It produced HD images in a 1920 by 1080 format, high enough quality to get the finished film distributed. It wasn't as good in low light as I would have liked, but I was able to compensate somewhat in post. Cost at the time I purchased was about $2,400 Canadian. The Y-Fang tripod provided reliable support and a fluid head for smooth pans and tilts, and ease of setup. The Ultimax Tridol made it possible to do dolly shots, like the one I did in the 147 restaurant, and the truck shot that I did in Scotty's restaurant.
The lads would hang about in O'Leary's and Shannon's were friendly pubs that served up tall beers, whiskeys neat, and liberal doses of philosophical posturing.
The newer NW81 shotgun mic provided reasonably good presence in close and at a distance. The mic pole made it possible for the sound recordist to find the best position for the mic. The soft light kit made it possible to do three-point lighting and to achieve a portrait look for some shots, like the close-up of Grace in the restaurant. I used a number of cat LED lights, smaller ones for kicker lights in tight spaces, and then I used the larger ones to do large spaces like the warehouse scene. The green muslin backdrop made it possible to do green screen so that I could insert party guests who hadn't actually attended the party, and for in-car scenes. The black muslin was also useful for negative fill. Photography stands were used for lights and masks, and they ran about $40 each. There are many budding filmmakers using their cell phones. In the case of Good Grief, It's Friday, we used the Samsung Galaxy S8 cell phone for telephone scenes. In the two telephone scenes between Philip and Friday, we pre-recorded Friday's part of the scenes on the phone and played them back into an earpiece, which we kept out of sight on Philip. We also used it for ADR. After all, we were in a pandemic and were unable to bring cast members into the studio. I did the post on the DaVinci Resolve 17 Studio. The free version is pretty powerful and was certainly good enough to accomplish most of the post for the film. However, the studio version was more powerful in cleaning up some of the video and the delivery of the film using H.265 codec, which is not available on the free version. My total investment was about $4,500. Now, $4,500 is a lot of money for an individual, but my thinking was that when the filming of my feature was done, I would still have the equipment for other projects, personal and otherwise. And that is true and makes sense as far as it goes. I don't have any regrets. However, I plan to get my next project fully funded. If I succeed, I'll be renting high-end equipment like the Ursa Broadcast G2 from Blackmagic or the Arri Alexa. Some shots were accomplished using gear that you probably already have around the house.
Man, I hadn't been this nervous since I graduated the academy 17 years ago. I wondered why this thing had the cops so clammy. Just isn't like Murph to be such a contrary jackass. And what the hell did Friday have to do with this? Well, I'd have to deal with her in the morning. At least the rain finally let up. Oh, great. What a time for Murph to show up, and no place to hide.
Okay, we're ready and go. Okay, stop. Let's go back, reset, do it again. This time, when you get about to there, stop, look around, carry on. I hope this has been helpful for those of you who are just getting into filmmaking. Until next time, when I invite you to come inside my movie.